Mayor, we're going live now, so we'll be live here in about 30 seconds.
But the pledge is going to be interesting. We're not going to stand up. We'll do the pledge in our seats. And Daryl, can you do the invocation?
Right.
And y'all be very aware that everybody is noticing your posture or when you're anything while you're the pledge and the invocation. Just keep that in mind. I've seen sudden commentary.
Okay, we're live. We're good.
I'm gonna send that to it.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the July 8th Town of Port Royal Council meeting. This is our regular meeting. This meeting is a virtual meeting. It is being streamed on Facebook, and you've seen that through our town webpage. Our first item on the agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance. Due to the situation, we're going to remain seating, but right now, can you please through our town webpage? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Daryl, can you lead us in an invocation, please?
Yes, Father, we thank you for this opportunity as we assemble before you in your presence. We thank you for your guidance as we conduct the town's business. We thank you that our decisions will be made in the best interest of the town. We pray for this country, our nation, and our leaders. These things we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
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 Thank you, Daryl. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. So the next item of business is to renew our emergency ordinance number 20-20, an emergency ordinance reauthorizing and amending the emergency ordinance 20-15 related to electronic meetings, and other matters. So that ordinance was in our packet. It allows us to do exactly what we're doing tonight and have these meetings set up in these fashions. What's the pleasure of council?
I
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2020-19.
That motion was made by Jerry Ashmore.
second Daryl Owens.
Thank you, Jerry and Daryl. Is there any discussion on the motion?
None.
That's just for another, is that another 30 days or 60 days?
61, I believe, is the way it was written in there. Is that correct?
Yes.
61.
Okay.
There is one section of the ordinance, section 2G. In no way, we're doing our best, absolutely, to deal with public comment. At this point, I just want to make the statement, please try to get public comment in 1 hour prior to the meeting. Email that to the town, and we'll do everything we can to get those public comments read into the record. It's in this ordinance as well, and we just want to make sure we find the best means to get the public comment in until we can all meet again and be together face to face.
And just for clarification, I think we're referencing ordinance 20-20.
Correct.
Yeah, because 2019 is the,
If
Yeah.
we're-
I thought somebody said 19. I just want to make sure.
I may have. I thought it was emergency ordinance 2020-19.
That's
what
the
it's-
face
agenda-
covering.
Oh, that's right.
I'm sorry. I just took the item number 2. You're absolutely correct.
It is
Okay, so
2020.
Jerry, you did want the motion to be for the 20-20-20.
Right, correct. Motion to approve ordinance 2020-20.
And I
Very good.
second.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So any other discussion from council? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. It needs to be a roll call vote. Jerry, you're on the screen that way. So Jerry,
Jerry Ashmore, aye. Approved.
Kevin,
Kevin Phillips, aye.
Mary Beth,
Aye.
Daryl. Daryl looks like he's frozen. Let's give him a second to see if he rejoins. Either that or he can sit very still. Let's, we won't hold it as an abstain. Brooke, if you could mark this down that Jerry was having some Daryl was having some communication issues. But
Yes,
the
sir.
motion, Joe DeVito votes aye as well. The motion does carry. And we'll see if when he comes back in, whether we can get his vote.
Yes,
soon
sir.
as he arrives back, we'll ask him for it.
And just a second, I do want to remind that we need to have the public hearing at 6:30 for the campground.
That's correct. You are right.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you, Brooke.
Gotcha, guys.
Okay, so we're gonna need to open up the public hearing before we go on to the next agenda item. So the best way to do this at this point is I really would like a motion from somebody in council to break from the agenda so that we can go ahead and launch the public hearing.
I make a motion to break from the agenda so we can go ahead and launch into the public hearing.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Can we follow the same order, please?
Gary Ashmore, aye.
Kevin?
Kevin Phillips, aye.
Beth Hayward, aye.
Daryl Owens, aye.
Hey, buddy.
You're back.
I lost connection.
Yeah, when we get back to the regular meeting, Darrell, we'll ask you for your vote on that ordinance, but right now, let's go ahead and open it up, public hearing. We're opening up a public hearing for ordinance 20-20-10, an amendment to Article 4, special to use of Port Royal Code for campgrounds. Brooke, you have any comment?
Yes, sir.
That was a no, sir, for the campgrounds?
Yes, I have, excuse me, I have not received any emails or Facebook messages.
Thank you. Because of the delay on Facebook, let's wait another minute or so and see if we get any comments there. Linda, you're monitoring the phone?
No comments from the phone.
Thank you. Brooke, anything come in on Facebook?
No, sir.
At that point, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And we'll resume back to our regular meeting. And Darrell, we had called for your vote when you froze. Do you have a vote on ordinance 20-20-20?
I vote in favor, aye.
Thank you, Darrell. So that finishes that. It was unanimous, Darrell, so now that you know. We appreciate that very much. And the next item of business, item 4, is approval of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. We have the June 3rd workshop, we have the public hearing from June 10th, and we have the minutes from council on also June 10th. Pleasure of council.
I move that we approve the minutes from council workshop June 3rd, minutes from public hearing June 10th, and minutes from council meeting on June 10th.
That motion was made by Darrell Owens. Do we have a second?
A second.
That second was Jerry Ashmore. Any discussions, corrections, or deletions from the minutes?
None noted.
Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify. Jerry?
Jerry Ashmore, aye.
Kevin? Mary Beth?
Aye.
Darrell?
Aye.
Mayor also aye. The minutes have been approved. The next item of business is we have a proclamation. Get that up. The Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week, and I see we have a representative from the nation on the Zoom meeting. Welcome. Can you introduce yourself to everybody, please?
Good evening, everybody. This show the Queen Court head upon the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation. So glad to see everybody safe and healthy. Glad for you having me back again this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. So we have a proclamation. I will go ahead and read that in if everybody is okay with that. Seeing we are color clear, whereas the Africans began arriving into the Sea Islands in the 1500s, and whereas in the population of these Africans increased as chattels and enslaved grew in the 1600s, And whereas these Africans began to engage within some of the instances and created families and indigenous Americans in this region, and whereas the descendants of this group are called the Gullah Geechee, and whereas this group of self-sufficient people came together in the 1990s throughout the Sea Islands and the Low Countries of Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, and stand on the human rights of self-determination, and whereas this group took 1 year to elect their own leader, and whereas the elected and installed St. Helena Island native, whose family's roots also stem from Palawana Island and Data Island, Queen Quint-Shetef, and the Gullah Geechee Nation, and whereas Queen Quint and her has served as the official head of the, and I'm gonna mess this up, Puna Dipu. Can you correct me on how to pronounce that, please?
Head Pundibody, Head Pundibody.
Head Pundibody. Thank
There
you. I would rather it be said properly. And
Dow should have said that thing for her.
and the spokesperson for the Gullah Geechee since July 2nd, 2000. And whereas the 20th anniversary of the Gullah Geechee Nation is being celebrated under the theme of Gullah Geechee 2020. And whereas we support continuing the Gullah Geechee Nation culture and heritage, sustainability of the Gullah Geechee Nation, I, Mayor Joe DeVito of the Town of Port Royal Council, do hereby proclaim July 25th through August 1st, 2020 Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week, and call upon all citizens to celebrate with the citizens of the Gullah Geechee Nation and the theme, the Gullah Geechee 2020, seeing the Gullah Geechee clearly virtual event and support the Gullah Geechee businesses in this institution. And I'm sorry I can't be there to sign this and hand this to you, but we'll find a way to get it to you.
No problem. I know where town hall is. Ain't no problem there. They're tall. I can always come by and pick them up. If you left them there, I'll be masked up and everything. And so I want to say thank you to all 100 children one more again. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the whole council for continuing this celebration right here in the Gullah Geechee Nation, even though like we do tonight, we're going to do them virtually. So if people want to follow at Gullah Geechee on Twitter and Instagram and follow Gullah Geechee Nation on Facebook, you'll be able to keep up with all the events we're going on and things like that, and still trying to get people to come on through Port Royal during that time, and at least pay homage at the site where we ancestors came through right there in the beautiful town of Port Royal. And so we appreciate this. This is a blessing one more again. And I appreciate all of 100 to do. Brooke, thank you to you, because you're the one always to feel all the emails and keep them going all these years. So I just wanted to thank you for all you do too and things like that, and keep them going Port Royal. We're glad to celebrate with you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
What's the
Queen.
pleasure of council? What's the pleasure of council?
This is a proclamation.
It's a proclamation. You're right. Excuse me.
Yes,
You're right. It's a proclamation.
Proclaim.
Not there to sign and hand it off. You're absolutely right. Well, thank you once
Yeah.
again, and we appreciate everything you do. Please make sure the events come through the town. We can make sure we get them reposted on our Facebook page as well.
Excellent.
It's great
Will
what you
do.
do.
We'll
Thank
do
you.
it. I'll make sure they're in English for you, Mayor. That way you won't have any trouble with it.
No, we're all right. We just need to spend a couple of minutes together and we'll get them all right. All those.
There we
phrases.
go. That's what I'm talking about. All right.
We'll-
Peace and
we'll-
blessings.
We'll get together and we'll get all those phrases right.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Definitely. Peace and blessings to all of you. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, the next item of business is we have a presentation from Beaufort County Police Accountability Task Force. Lisa Allen, is she on? Van?
Hold on one second. I
Don't see her.
I don't see her.
Don't see her.
And Brooke, we sent out or Sean, we sent out that invitation, so we're.
Yeah, correct. I'm double checking now to make sure that she received that.
Okay, make sure, Brooke, there's no email saying they're having problems getting in?
I am checking right now.
Make sure, Brooke, there's no email saying they're having problems getting in? I got to hear myself.
I am checking.
Somebody's Facebook is playing over, guys.
Then I'm it.
Not me. I don't have mine on.
Me either.
Very good. It's probably showing that. All right. Well, it's probably Brooke listening for what's happening. All right, we'll go ahead and move on at this point. If she happens to come in, we'll back up to that. Does that meet council's needs?
Sure.
So the second presentation was to follow this was from our police chief. Chief Beach, please tell us, how are things going? Talk to us about your policies, your reviews, and what's been happening.
Thank you very much for asking, and we absolutely will. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
Captain Massey's here too. He's going to touch on some of it. What he's been doing after June the 11th is when I started reviewing the use of force policy. And we've implemented we started our use of force policy back in 2003, which was up to CLIA standards back in the day. And we've added one duty to intervene, which says the officers may be at the scene of police incidents where force is being used. Some officers may not be directly involved in taking police action. Officers have an obligation to protect the public and other officers. Therefore, it shall be the duty of every officer present at any scene where force is being applied to either stop or attempt to stop another officer or first responder when force is appropriately used and or no longer required. The officer's actions will both protect the officer from civil and criminal liability and protect the citizens from serious injury. That was the main thing that we had added according to Ms. Allen's bullet points. The rest of them, the chokeholds, we've banned chokeholds since day one. We do require the de-escalation, exhausting all alternatives. And I'll have Captain Massey here explain to you what he's been teaching over the last few weeks, just to reiterate our use of force policy. Everything else, I hope you guys had a chance to go over our three major use of force policies that you should have been given a few weeks ago. But if not, I can definitely send those out again to Mr. Willis so he can get you guys copies. And then we'll take some questions. I'll yield the floor to Captain Massey, let him brief you on what he's been doing over the last few weeks.
Captain, before you jump in, Chief, you mentioned there was an abbreviation in the very beginning that met some standard. Can you, what was that?
It's CLIA standards accreditation. We were trying to do that a few years ago, but it was so expensive. We basically put all the policies in place, but we never joined the accreditation service. The federal ones are very expensive, but they do have a state version, and we could definitely entertain that again because we have everything in place, but it really looks good and helps us follow the procedures, and it's basically accountability with forms and make sure we do things right. It's almost a full-time job, but we can definitely talk about that later.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Captain, go ahead.
So, Mayor, council members, Mr. Willis, citizens, Brooke.
Cap, I think you're gonna need to get a little closer to the mic there. We're having a little hard time hearing you.
Change chairs. Change chairs. All right. Okay, I said, Mayor, council members, Mr. Willis, citizens, Brooke, thank you for allowing me to speak. What I've been doing since, I've been a firearms instructor for the Port Royal Police Department for approximately over 20 years. And during that time, I've always taught the use of force policies and deadly force policies as well. Our policy went into effect in 2003. And that's when I started teaching from the actual policy, which we cover de-escalation. We cover the Tennessee versus Gardner, which is the use of deadly force on a fleeing felon. We cover Graham versus Connor. We actually get so deep into our policy that excessive force is so prohibited that every officer out here understands and knows that it will not be tolerated. Therefore, we don't have an issue with it. And so what I do is every year, sometimes twice a year, we meet with officers in the training room before we go to the range, and we go over all the policies, deadly force, use of force, taser, reporting use of force. And each officer has to sign off that they understand and they're going to go back and read the policy as well. So we get that signed off and it goes to Major Wickerman, who's the training officer who has to keep records of that. Once we do that, we take them out to the range, we get them qualified, and we come back and do it again, hopefully following maybe 6 months later. And we use a different range, but we actually go through it again. Now, when we get new hires in, those new hires, the very first thing they have to do once they have been sworn in is be qualified on the range, which they get those policies. So if I give them the policies, say in March, and we go to the range in June, they get them again in June. So the policy is beaten into the officers so often that it becomes basically another way of life for them. They know what the standards are. They know what we have to do. And I did go through the actual bullet points that, what's her name? Miss Allen had. And we have been doing this since 2003. We have been following these policies based on what she has since 2003. So I really don't even see much of an issue at all with our department. We are, I would say we are above the standards. When we've always been above the standards and we stay there. Also, a couple things she had mentioned about the public contacts. That is open to the public on the South Carolina Department of Public Safety website. Anybody can go on there and see how many public contacts the Port Royal Police Department has done based on the color, the race, the whole nine. Age. It's all broken down by age, race, and they can see that it's open to the public. Also, if they want any further information, they can go to the FBI website. We have to report to them every month. We have to send a report. Even if we don't have a use of force incident, we have to report a 0 report to the FBI saying we had nothing whatsoever. So it's not like we just leave it blank. It has to be a 0 report, go to them. SLED also once a month get a report from us, which is automatic through a law track. Once we do a report or write a ticket and they hit the save button, it goes to SLED. They've got a record of all of that information. So transparency is there. There's nothing we've got hidden. There's no hidden agendas. If Miss Allen could have gladly walked down and spoke to myself or the chief or even the major, and they could have sent her to me, and I would have sat down with our policies and showed her our use of force is dead on spot. We have no issues whatsoever in the town of Port Royal with excessive force. If we even think it's about to occur, it's nipped in the bud before it even begins. And throughout my entire year here, the chief, the major, they've always been on the spot and stuff. So I think we're above where we need to be, and I think we're still pushing to go further. Also, they brought up the issue with police community relations. We've been working with our community since I've been here, and that started back in 1994. We've always been available to our public. We've always tried to get with the citizens in the complexes and sit down and talk to them and let them know we are here for them, but we can't do it alone. We need their help. They have to be there to help us and give us kind of more like our eyes and ears. If you see something, call us, let us know, but you can't turn the blind eye because we're not there. We don't know what's going on. You have to be able to tell us what's going on so we can be better prepared to help you. And see, to make your community better, you have to be willing to help make it better. We can't do it alone. We need our citizens, and we've always been that way.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
And I assume council questions for Chief or Massey.
No, I've got comments. I don't have questions.
Go.
I'm glad to hear that about our policies and they're in place, and I'm glad to hear that at the SLED and through the FBI that there's accountability there. there's no doubt in my mind that we've got a fine police force and they do a great job. And as he said, you know, we've been following these policies for years, and this is nothing new. And it doesn't surprise me. And I know we've got a great police department led by a great chief and great officers. And I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. I'll second that. That's for sure.
Gerald, did it sound like, you look like you were ready to say something? Go ahead.
No, that's fine. Yeah, and I too echo the sentiments of my colleagues, and I commend Chief Beach and Captain Massey and the crew. Definitely, I receive a similar report from my secular job from the Trust Coalition, and we have monthly meetings, and they give us an update or report on incidents involving the law enforcement in Jasper. There was a time, Van, I believe you used to give us a quarterly report of reported incidents broken down by demographics, and also, I think if I recall getting that some time ago. I'd like to see that happen again, you know, probably on a quarterly basis, just so that we can have our eyes set on it. I know that we can access it from the FBI, but if we can just get it, something from the town specific to Port Royal on a quarterly basis that we can put our eyes on, and we can see also the type of occurrences that we're having and so forth. But the team in Port Royal, whenever I see them, I always thank them for the job that they're doing. I went down to the Sands this morning and saw a crew down there, and I took the time out just to thank them for what they were doing, and we appreciate all that you all are doing to protect and serve this community of Port Royal, to make it a great and a safe place. Thank you, guys.
Kevin, you have anything?
Yeah, just something I've encouraged a lot of people to do. I've done it once, but they and I know it's been stopped. The program has been stopped right now because of COVID, but maybe when it opens back up, and I think it's a great program. They allow community ride-alongs. So, and I went along and rode around with one of our police officers for a couple hours one night on, I believe, a Thursday night, and learned a lot. And so, and it's open to the community. Like I said, it's shut down right now because of COVID, but hopefully when they open that back up, I encourage people. It was really great. You get to go see, you know, how they operate and how professional they are. And so the community ride-along program that we offer is something I urge citizens to look into when it's opened back up.
Very good.
That's right.
And Chief, I assume that, well, one second, Brooke, I see somebody else popped up on the screen, and I don't know who this is. Is this Lisa Allen? M. Brock?
That's Michael Brock.
That's Michael Brock for the,
Okay, that's right. Thank you. I just saw her pop in. That's who that is. Very good. Thank you, guys. Chief, I assume that invitation to Lisa, she couldn't be here tonight, but what I would like for us to do is just, we'll send her something and say, if she would like any further information, please reach out directly to you.
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
Massey, and let you guys have a meeting with her. And if something needs to come back before council, please bring it back in that way. I think it's a good way for us to kind of handle this, and let's reach out directly to her and say that you're open for that. And
Absolutely.
in that way.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay, does that work for everybody?
Sure does.
You know, you've heard it from council. You can hear it from me again. We appreciate all that you do. You guys are great. Tough job. We all know that. And, you know, like everything else, besides the policing you do, what you do with the school force, what you help us with, you know, the public events, when we have the public events and, you know, all that aspect, there's so much more to policing, and we appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Is everybody good?
yep.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It's hard not to be right there with everybody. I admit that. The next item of business is our council briefing. Van, we went through the briefing last week. Are there any changes or updates to any items in that briefing that we need to be discussing? What's happened in the last week?
Well, a little bit's happened. Obviously, we've had to shut the office down, at least temporarily, to have it cleaned. We are having some internal COVID issues, which we're all dealing with. We're currently all being tested and all in quarantine until we get those results back. So hence the Zoom meeting this evening. But I will keep you posted as to where that all falls out. Other than that, I can answer any questions you might have about anything on that briefing since last week.
I'm good.
Council member, any questions?
No,
Okay.
sir, not me.
I do have one. Have we heard from the Water Authority on the grant and their
Nothing.
participation? Okay, let's up that tomorrow. Let you and me get together and figure out how we're going to escalate that a little bit.
Right. And I know that the general manager is supposed to be back on July 8th. So maybe we'll give him a couple days. I'll hit him up with another email tomorrow and see where we go from there.
Very good. And the other one that jumped out at me, we had some conversation last week about the landscape contract. I have heard from some citizens asking if we had reduced what we were doing to save money, and I said no, and that you were working on that. So is there any updates on that as well?
Yeah. We, after meeting with him and Tony, just over the scope of work and the existing contract, they've done a number of things to rectify the deficiencies, if you will. As a matter of fact, I did actually see the owner of the company out this past week, actually watering some of the recently installed plants. But there's still going to be some tweaking that we have to address. So we'll be working on any other deficiencies that we see. And just an update as well, we are scheduling the cleaning of Sands Beach Road to get all the sand off and the bicycle and pedestrian pathway cleared. So that's
Thank
something
you.
else.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Council, any questions for Van?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none. Sorry, did somebody say
Yeah,
something?
just real quick. Also, we've got a section, I believe, adjacent to the 16th Street Boardwalk for the trail, Cypress Wetlands Trail. That's going to be power washed here shortly.
Very good. Okay, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is second readings. We have one second reading. We've got ordinance 20-20-10, amending Article 4, specific to use of the Port Royal Code campgrounds. Linda, you want to give us just a quick summary again? We've heard this a number of times, but in case there's anybody new watching on Facebook, a quick summary.
Yes, briefly, this ordinance is an amendment to a text amendment to the Port Royal Code. It would allow RV parks and campgrounds to be a conditional use in T4 neighborhood center. Additionally, the text amendment goes on to define just what an RV park and campground is with regard to our ordinance. And then finally, it elaborates a list of conditions that have to be met in order to establish the use. I think that rising to the top, most interesting to most folks is it is limited to properties that are zoned T4 neighborhood center. These properties have to have direct access onto a highway or arterial. So for us in Port Royal, that means Rebo Road, Robert Smalls Parkway, Savannah Highway, and Paris Island Gateway. And then finally, there is a dimensional requirement of a minimum of 3 acres. There are some more details, and I'd be glad to help you out with those if you would like, as well as the representative who is bringing this forward is with us in the Zoom meeting this evening, Michael Brock.
Very good. Brooke, are you doing the screen share or is that Linda?
I think it's Brooke.
I'm doing it, sir.
Can you bring up ordinance 20-20-10, just so that sits there and they can see the statement and the C being changed on the second page?
I should have it changed for you right now.
Very good. While that's coming up, what's the pleasure of council?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2020-10.
Second.
Jerry Ashmore made a motion. Mary Beth Hayward seconded that. Further discussion as that's coming up.
At this time, if the representatives here, I'd like to hear from them. I had some questions at the first reading about how the conditions are going to be enforced and how we were going to find out about ATAX collection. And I would just like to hear the answer to those questions before we just move it along. If we can do that.
Yes, we can do that. Mr. Brock, Michael, you're on board. So Kevin had some specific questions he'd like to get answered.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. There were a couple things that the council had asked about. One was seeing the exhibit of the properties, and I believe you got that. Linda had gotten that together over the last 3 weeks and sent that out. The other question was how we were going to, well, one of the questions was the limitations of the days of stay and the period of time in between stays. So we went on and clarified that in the document. It's specified as 14 days for campers, for tent campers, and 28 days for RV campers. And then a span of 5 days have to happen between stays. So how is that going to be monitored? Since our last meeting and when I talked to you, most of these, well, all of them now use a reservation system like Airbnb or any kind of online reservation system. The software that the RV centers use is you go online, you register, you put in all your information, type of vehicle, type of camping that you're going to do, and the length of stay that you're going to stay there. And so the software has the capability of limiting the number of days based on what type of camping you're doing. It also has a way of setting up where you cannot stay for more than 28 days, but then also to have that lapse of time in between. How do we audit that? That's a simple report that can be printed off that has identification of the vehicles and how long they are set to stay for and how long they have stayed. So those are all system that's set up in the software that it can be audited at all times. It can be turned in. Now, that same system also allows for how the tax base is going to be paid out. So it's all set up in that software where it gives you basically how you're supposed to pay out the taxes that you need to pay on a monthly basis.
Kevin, does that answer your questions?
So I assume that the town could request that audit periodically?
Absolutely. Anytime. Yeah, they could just ask for a report to be printed on who's there, how many are there. And I mean, that would give you some good numbers anyways on off season and peak season. So yeah, that can definitely be run at any time that you ask for it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Very good. Any other council member have any questions?
No, sir.
Nope. Last call for comment. Hearing none. All those in favor? Jerry?
Jerry Ashmore, aye.
Kevin?
Kevin Phillips, aye.
Mary Beth?
Mary Beth, aye.
And Daryl? It seems like every time Daryl has to vote, he drops off.
What?
He must not be hitting unmute. He must be hitting something. There, he's back. Daryl?
Aye.
Very good. Joe DeVito, aye. We were saying, Daryl, it seems like every time you had to vote, you dropped off. It was like something was going on there.
I'm having to shuffle between two different systems to stay on line.
There you go. Well, very good. Michael, if you're still there, thank you very much for working with us through this process. I know it was a long process, but we now know that we fully vetted this process. We understand exactly what it is we're getting, how it can benefit the town, how it meets our missions. And I'm glad we took the time to really look at this and work it back and forth.
What's your timeline, Michael?
Well, they're ready to move right away. We need to go on and get the plans developed and get the process through Linda and see about making sure everything adheres to the ordinance. And then, I mean, he's ready to try to get everything approved. So it's just a matter of how we can get all that process through and agency permitting.
Excellent. Thank you. Well done.
And I'm sure our fire chief, who I know is sitting there, is excited about seeing some old dilapidated vacant buildings be raised. That they're always scary when they sit there like that for this period of time.
If for no other reason, that's one of the most exciting portions of this proposal. You're correct.
And Michael,
Appreciate it.
welcome to the town.
Thank you.
So the next item of business is we've got a first reading. We've got an ordinance 20-20-18, an ordinance authorizing our town manager to convey excess real property to facilitate the construction of a sidewalk within the town described as Beaufort County Tax District 110, map 11, parcel 92, approximately 108 feet on the corner of Richmond Avenue and 75 feet on the corner of 12th Street. Property is known at 1109 Richmond Avenue. This is a sidewalk request. It is up on the screen. This is a pretty, we have to do that because it's property. We do a couple of these a year. So what's the pleasure of council?
I move if we're in order, Mayor, we approve ordinance 2020-18.
I'll
We have
second.
we have a motion to approve. We have a second from Mary Beth Hayward. Any discussion on this?
No, sir.
Hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the roll vote. Jerry,
Jerry Ashmore, aye.
Kevin,
Kevin Phillips, aye.
Mary Beth,
Mary Beth, I.
Daryl,
Daryl Owens, aye.
Joe DeVito, aye. Daryl did it without dropping off. It's unanimous. This is why Zoom meetings sometimes take longer. It's the voting that takes longer. I mean, the roll call voting definitely takes time to get through. The next is a resolution on the agenda. It's 8-20-20. This is a safe work resolution. Van, you want to give us some background on this?
Hold on one sec. Let me pull it up real quick.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm in Run Drive.
There it is.
All right. Now, basically, this is another resolution associated with what we're doing through the Community Development Block Grant Program. One of the stipulations to ensuring that we are complying with federal and state standards, ensuring that we have a safe workplace. And this is by passing this, we'll be in compliance with the CDBG regulations and stipulations.
Very good. Pleasure, council.
I move
It's a
that,
resolution.
So it's a resolution has to be voted on. Proclamations don't. Sorry.
Okay.
I move
I
that
already made that mistake once tonight.
that we approve resolution 8-2020.
Thank you, Daryl. Daryl has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll make a second.
We have a second by Jerry Ashmore. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. Roll call vote. Jerry,
Jerry Ashmore, aye.
Kevin,
Kevin Phillips, aye.
Mary Beth,
Mary Beth, I.
and Daryl.
Daryl Owens, aye.
Very good. I'll stop by and take care of getting those signed. Next is council actions and discussions. We have 2 appointments. We got a zoning board of adjustments and appeals, a reappointment. What do we have on that one? I'm sorry, I don't have it up on my screen. Like I said, Daryl, using the computer and having the documents is an interesting aspect.
That would be Brian Stevens. And he has agreed to for a reappointment.
Very good. So we have a reappointment, Brian Stevens. Pleasure, council.
Make a motion to approve Brian Stevens for reappointment to the zoning board and adjustments and appeals.
I second that motion.
Okay, we had the initial motion was Jerry Ashmore, the second Daryl Owens. Thank you. Discussion about the reappointment. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Jerry Ashmore, aye.
Kevin,
Kevin Phillips, aye.
Mary Beth, I.
Daryl Owens, aye.
and Joe DeVito is also aye. So Brian is is reappointed. And please, Brooke, make sure we thank him for his service.
Yes, sir.
The next item of business is the redevelopment commission. We have a new appointment. This is, we interviewed 4 people last week for this. It was a little bit of a new process, which is first of all, to have 5 applicants, 4 people interviewed. This is a great, shows that the town and the people in the town are willing to help us and hear and to serve on our boards and commission. All of these people were extremely qualified. We were very, it was interesting to talk and decide on who or the differences between them and how they can serve. And we hope that every person that applied tonight will apply for a board if you're not chosen tonight, because there's plenty of boards and commissions. There's lots of positions that come available, and we would love to see all these names again. But we only have 1 seat, so we will have to choose 1 person. What's the pleasure of council?
I'd like
Mayor,
to
I
make,
echo what you said. I'm sorry, Mary Beth. I just wanted to
No, you
echo
go-
what you said. We had some great applicants. So I
Mhm.
just wanted to echo that. Go ahead, Mary Beth.
oh, you go ahead, Jerry, if you want to.
No, you're good. I just wanted to say we had good applicants.
Yeah, I think all of them were good, and I'm very pleased that as many came out that want to be involved in the town. If you're not selected for this board, we certainly hope you'll want to put yourself on another board. And in saying so, I'd like to make a recommendation that we appoint Rad.
Rand Ward, is that who you said? Rand
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
So we have a motion to appoint Rand Ward by Mary Beth Haywood. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. Same order, please.
Jerry Ashmore, aye.
Kevin,
Kevin Phillips, nay.
Mary Beth,
Mary Beth, aye.
Daryl,
Daryl Owens, nay.
Joe DeVito votes nay. So the motion does not carry. Do we have a second motion?
I motion that we approve Roger Pollen.
We have a motion for Roger Pollen. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Jerry
Same order.
Ashmore, nay.
Kevin,
Kevin Phillips, aye.
Daryl,
Mary- Nick,
Mary Beth, nay,
Daryl Owens,
Daryl?
aye. Daryl
And
Owens,
Joe-
aye.
and Joe DeVito's aye, carries 3-2. Roger, if you're on, welcome to the Redevelopment Commission. Thank you, everybody, for this process. It is a different process. It is one we're going to keep expanding and utilizing. And we hope to keep having multiple people like this because they're all very qualified. And we have plenty, like I said, plenty of boards and commissions, and we're looking for people to help serve us. Next item of business is important dates. Monday, July 20th, 5 p.m. Metro Planning Commission. Linda, do we have any projects at this time?
We will. We have an application for a rezoning out at 4 Sundown Bend. That's out a small street off of Robert Smalls Parkway. The property is currently zoned T4 Neighborhood Center. The applicant is asking for an upzoning to T4 Neighborhood Center Open. We will be sending out letters to all of the folks in the vicinity of that property this week.
Very good. Any questions for any other dates any council members would like to add?
No, sir.
Very good. Sorry, I'm looking for a date for something. Very good. All right, so the next item on the agenda is council comments. Daryl, because you've had to go last for every vote tonight because of the order, we'll let you go ahead and go first with comments.
Gosh, I thought I had some comments, but oh well, I did have one. An observation actually. I went down and visited the sands of my favorite place in morning and afternoons on 4th of July, and to my surprise, you know, the crowd was very dense. Everyone conducted themselves in a civil fashion. So I was very pleased to see that in light of the absence of the celebration. I went back out that night and there was several people out there on the boardwalk and got to talk to a lot of visiting people also asking about fireworks and so forth. And of course, I shared with them that the entire county actually had canceled their festivities for this year, but again, welcomed them to Port Royal. So that was nice. And the mask ordinance, I see that's working well. I saw there was a few hiccups on the first couple of days in some of the establishments where people were coming in, and of course the employees felt, of course, you know, they did not want to address it, in which I felt that they should not put themselves in harm's way. But I think people are getting used to or acclimated to the idea right now. I've not seen any issues with that after. So again, I just ask that everyone stay safe and we'll get through this.
Thank you, Marybeth.
I don't have any.
Kevin?
Just, yeah, kind of reiterate Councilman Owens. I've been really impressed with how many people are stepping up, and I've been out. The overwhelming majority of people are wearing the masks and heeding the warning, and that's really good to see everybody looking out for each other. One quick thing, I don't know who all saw it, but it's just an amazing little thing that, you know, that our little town, how it just continues to show how amazing it is, that the you know, Spanish Moss Trail was just recently voted the #1 urban walking trail in the USA. Not in South Carolina, not in the United States, but in the United States by Outside Magazine. It just really goes to show the hard work that, you know, that so many people have put in on the friends of the Spanish Moss Trail. But I thought that was pretty impressive award, considering, like I said, it's in the entire country, and just look forward to that project continuing and improving the quality of life of all the residents that use it.
Very good. Jerry?
Yes, the Spanish Moss Trail is quite a jewel. So that was nice. And I believe it was highlighted last night on Making It Grow for those who were able to catch that on ETV. Ben, I believe there were 6 to 8 emails that needed to be read into the record. I'm not sure what the timing is on that.
Yeah, that's going to be in public comment section. That's the next item on the agenda.
All right.
And your statements about the Spanish Moss Trail, Jerry, if you kept up your string of rides on the Spanish Moss Trail, we might be able to give you some sort of an award as more miles on the trail than anybody. Because you ride it so much, you may even be beating me because I leave it so often and ride on other roads. But you do that trail so much. And the one you got to watch is Daryl coming up behind you. You know, he's starting to make his runs up and down the trail.
I don't think he beats me. I rake in some miles. I do an average of 13 miles per day as far as Clarendon Plantation on that trail.
It's amazing how many miles you two guys are doing on that trail, and that's good news. And I did get to watch the show last night on Make It Grow, and it was very well done. And you know, I'm glad they put in the beginning that this was filmed before COVID, because they were right there talking amongst each other. It was filmed back in November when it was beautiful out there, and it was really a great thing. I do have a couple of comments, and I'm going to call on some staff maybe to help me with some of this information. And Chief, do you know how many of the Chief Beach, do you know how many of the flyers we handed out letting businesses know? Is that something that your staff did?
Oh my goodness. Yes, sir. We printed 50 to start with, and I think we printed out another 30.
Very good. Appreciate that.
That's 80. I'm sure we had probably a few left over.
Appreciate you getting that out. And Chief Bertolf, I understand that there was a little bit of a promotion ceremony that happened this week that maybe not everybody got to watch. Any Port Royal firefighters that you want to highlight real quick?
Yes, sir. We had the promotion ceremony last night. The public is welcome to go to our Facebook page and review it. We had multiple firefighters at the firefighter 1, 2, and 3 rank, and we promoted Battalion Chief Ross Vazan to Assistant Chief of the Training and Public Education Division. All well-deserved, excellent public service from across our community, and I appreciate everybody's kind words, and I saw a lot of it on Facebook today. And thank you for participating for those that could last night in the virtual ceremony. It's a component that we hope to add to all of our ceremonies moving forward, even when we're able to go back to in-person ones, so their families from across the nation can participate.
I appreciate that. I'm sorry I was unable to join it virtually last night and watch it. The other comment that I do, and I want to also, the mask wearing. I mean, the town, everybody, we're doing a great job everywhere I go right now and see people are wearing the masks. People are doing it. The businesses are really helping us out in this aspect. Masks seem to be readily available no matter where you go. If you happen to forget one, that the store, the businesses seem to be ready to hand you one and put one and help you get one on. So we appreciate everybody in the town and what they're doing. If you're following the numbers, the last 2 days numbers in Beaufort County have been devastating. 100 and then 50 some odd today. I don't remember the exact number, but it was above 50 today as well. Those are the highest numbers we've seen. Obviously, a lot of testing being done on Hilton Head last week. Those numbers are starting to come in, and we just all need to really remember to take care of each other, to protect each other. The mask you wear protects the person you're with along with yourself. Wash your hands, wash your mask, keep that social distancing. It's very important we keep that going. If there's no other comments, we will go to public comment. We've been having some emails. Brooke has got everything ready and she's going to read them into the record for us.
Yes, sir. We'll start with an email from Miss Debbie Ball. Dear Port Royal Council, my husband and I moved to Port Royal because of the unique mix of homes, businesses, and activities. We enjoy operating our short-term rentals and meeting all the visitors staying at our home. We are so proud of Port Royal and are always encouraging our guests to shop and eat at Port Royal's wonderful stores and restaurants. I want to thank the council for voting to not go forward with the task force recommendations to regulate and limit STRs. Short-term rentals are just one more unique aspect of Port Royal as they offer a comfortable place to stay for our visitors and military families. Thank you, Mary Beth Hayward, Daryl Owens, and Jerry Ashmore for your wise decision-making. I know that you have the best interests of the people of Port Royal in mind and are always watching out for our properties and our property rights, as well as what is best for Port Royal. I am proud to have you on our town council. Debbie Ball, 915 15th Street. Next email's from Charlie Bray. Please read into the record at the appropriate time. Port Royal should not be the only municipality in the area without a cap on STRs. 3 current council members were in office when town council created a task force to study short-term rentals. This task force worked for over a year and agreed upon a reasonable new ordinance that provides for balanced growth of STRs throughout Port Royal without allowing an over concentration in any one district. Please consider this proposed ordinance in the proper manner, which would include public comment and open discussion amongst the council. Thank you, Charlie Bray. Richard Beasley. Dear Mayor, council members, town staff, and Port Royal citizens, I would like to speak regarding the failure of the town council to move forward the short-term rental ordinance presented at the May 13th council meeting. I spent well over 40 hours performing research and attended at least 10 meetings, volunteering to help the town council draft the short-term rental ordinance. Then the council decided my efforts were not. I find it very interesting that the 3 council members who were on council when the task force was formed well over a year ago voted no on the first reading. Why did the council vote to form the task force and to have the citizens invest hundreds of hours of their time working for the benefit of the town? Why did the town spend unknown dollars having their attorney draft an ordinance for naught? Why did the 2 new council members vote to move the ordinance forward while the old guard voted to kill it? I find it very disheartening that the town council killed the ordinance before citizens of the town were given the opportunity to speak at a public hearing about the merits of the ordinance. Even more disappointing is that the 3 members who voted no did not give public any explanation for voting the way they did. Whether the final vote after all readings and hearings results in a yes or no result, the citizens of this town need to be treated with respect. Volunteers give their time to serve on task force, committees, and boards because they are Port Royal proud and desire to make a difference for the benefit of the community. The town will quickly run out of volunteers, and the citizens will lose faith and trust in their elected officials if they continue to be treated in this manner. Regards, Richard Beasley, 223 Willow Point Road. Dear Van, I would like the following read into the minutes during non-agenda comments at the end of tonight's meeting. Kurt and I are very disappointed with the handling of the first reading of the proposed short-term rental ordinance at the May meeting. After months of work by the task force and staff, it was discarded with no opportunity for council to hold a workshop and public hearing prior to a second reading. If procedure was an issue, at the very least, it could have been tabled to the next meeting with a workshop prior to that meeting. This was a disservice to the people of the town and a signal to me that partisanship may be in play at the local level. An assumption was made by some council members that more were opposed to the ordinance as written. In observing many council meetings, there are items that come up in which varying opinions are held. Those differences are discussed and debated. Certainly there were areas to be tweaked, but not just throw it out. An example of the contentious item that required and was debated and discussed was the shrimp docks. No sour grapes here, just a concern that government is by and for all, not some people. After a hearing, the townspeople could better see the reasons to either vote the ordinance down completely or adjust it in the best interest of all. Please be strong in representing all the people. We hope to see this important issue brought forward again in the near future. Thank you, Bernadette Clayton and Kurt Hoffman, 1108 12th Street. Mayor and members of council. The recent months of stay at home have confirmed my beliefs that we need to further address the STR issue. The village of Port Royal has been full of families walking and biking and enjoying our sidewalks, the sands, and Cypress Preserve. There has been a sense of community here that I haven't witnessed in almost 10 years. There is a place for STRs, but please let's revisit the ordinance, have proper debate, and create a district plan. I hope last month's lack of comment from council members was that there was no opportunity for public comment. I hope they didn't just let this important issue die without some reason for their inaction. Sincerely, Kit Bruce, 906 9th Street. And our final email is from Mr. Tim Snyder. This is Tim Snyder of Willow Point Development. I just want to remind everyone my concerns again of the development that would potentially give going in next door. The water runoff onto my property is a big concern for me when they do change the landscape of that property. I am sure there will be some issues and I will have to deal with them. An alternate plan could be to put less houses in there and don't disturb the existing land topography. I think that would be a much better way of using this land. I am 100% against the development as it is now. Have a great day, Tim Snyder. And that was all of the emails I received, Mayor. And there was no, let me just double check. I didn't see anything on the Facebook.
Brooke, did you get one from Kit Bruce? I don't know if you read that one, and I apologize if I missed that one.
She read it.
Yeah, I read that one.
Very good. Thank you, Brooke.
You're welcome, sir. And Facebook is clear of any further comments.
Very good. So that completes our agenda for the July 8th Town Council meeting.
Mayor, if you'll allow me just a moment, I had others that requested to be read into the agenda. I don't know. I believe everybody got others as well. Am I correct in that? Or no? Did others get some as well? 'Cause
Yes,
I'm
I did.
looking-
Which one might you have, Jerry? I'm looking through my emails now.
I got one from Greg Shelton. I know he requested it to be read into the record. I thought Noel Salinda, Hillary Watson, Stuart Hovis, and also Tim Ball.
I did not have any of those, sir.
Let's see.
That's fine.
I think I've got the Hovis, and I can read that one.
Okay.
Greetings, Port Royal Town Council. We would like to express how pleased we are with the vote opposing new restrictions on short-term rentals in Port Royal. When we purchased our house, we had no idea that there was opposition to STR in the area. In fact, it seemed to us that local vision saw Port Royal and Old Village as a place to share while keeping a small town feel. To us, this meant sharing our home with visiting families, many of whom prefer the personal touch of a house over a more impersonal hotel. Thank you to those on the town council that share this philosophy, as the previously proposed STR mandates would make it so much more difficult for us to accommodate our guests. We would greatly appreciate a reading of this letter in the meeting of July 8, 2020, and are thankful for your time. You said one from Tim Ball.
Yes, sir. I can read it if you'd like.
Yeah, why don't you do that one? And the other one was from Greg.
Yeah, so Tim is actually sent 2 emails, and I'll start with the second one. It says, P.S. Could you please read my email into the record, the council record of minutes? It says, Dear Mayor and council members, I want to personally thank you for supporting the property rights of Port Royal owners in Port Royal by not passing the STR task force recommendation. This is a victory for reasons and common sense that ensures that Port Royal remains the eclectic urban walking community that it was envisioned to be, and not a closed, harshly regulated and prejudiced kingdom of the few. Thank you for making Port Royal a palette for an emerging mix of business and community that has drawn many and will continue to draw many to this diverse portrait of freedom and low country life. Thank you for preserving the future of Port Royal and its extraordinary heritage. Best regards, Tim Ball.
And I don't have anything from Greg Shelton specific to public comment this evening. So if one of y'all have a copy of that.
I've got it. In the title of his email, it says, please read and report at council meeting July 8th. So Mr. Mayor and members of council, Mr. Willis, I would like to thank the mayor in his previous role as STR Task Force Chairman in his direction as mayor. Additionally, I would like to thank council members for their approach on this difficult subject and the support they showed to the Port Royal majority in their most recent vote on this issue. We support their efforts and those that raise their voice in counterbalance to this property rights issue. Thank you for your service to this community. Greg Shelton, 1007 Madrid Avenue.
Yeah, I just found it. I forwarded it to Brooke, so she'll have a copy of it as well.
Thanks, Jerry, for highlighting the couple that were missed.
And then Hillary Walton has requested that we include this email in your meeting on the 8th of July. Would you like me to read that one as well?
I can do it if you want. I think I found it.
If you'd like to, go ahead.
I want to thank you for your service to this community. I've just moved into Port Royal and love the variety found here. Your recent vote to uphold property rights and not regulate short-term rentals was a very welcome outcome, which I believe will help continue the growth of this community for the residents and visitors. Thanks especially to those members of the council who took a stance against regulating short-term rentals, which sustain our community through taxes, direct income to some of our residents, and indirectly to our local business community. It is with this possibility in mind that we have relocated to this community. The permanent residents from all walks of life and the visitors to this community from all over the country and the world are what make this such a desirable area for us, and we are thrilled to now be a part of this community. I would also like to commend you for the barrier put up at the sands restricting how far into the beach automobiles may go. Having a beach with automobile access is important in this community. It's one of the last of its kind, and I do believe that this step was a very good compromise. I hope we will continue to work together to find solutions that are good for our entire community. Thank you again for your service to our neighborhood. Sincerely, Hillary Walton, 820 15th Street.
Very good.
Noelle Salinda wrote one, but she did not request it be read into the record. So I guess unless council, we don't need to read it unless council requests we read it.
No, let's find a better way to make sure we don't miss any of these. Van, can we set up an email address that's specific to
Yeah.
council comments, something, so people, so that everything goes to a certain box that we know is being recorded, and that maybe you could set that up that they're forwarded to council, but let's get that
Right.
email address out there so we don't miss these things. You know, I look at them and I see that they have either Brooks or yours, and I kind of wait for them to be read in. So we've got to figure
Right.
out a way to make this process a little bit better. So let's set up something, because this isn't going away. It's going to be a while before we can get our doors open back up and we can have the town in front of us. So let's streamline this process a little bit.
Right. And the way the policy does read in the emergency virtual ordinance is that they are to email these to the clerk, and maybe we can do a better job of posting that on the website and maybe reminding folks in the newsletter and through our social media accounts. Because they just, sometimes they're copied to Brooke, sometimes they're copied to me, sometimes they're copied to all of you.
You're right.
So it can be a little
Yeah.
cumbersome. Particularly I was out and I got about 800 emails all at one time. So just missed a few of those.
Yeah,
You're
I think a specific email address will make it real easy
Yeah.
for one of them not to get missed. And we want to hear from the public. We want to hear from our citizens. So we've just got to make this as easy as possible. So let's figure out a way to do it before the next meeting. We've got some time, and let's get that email blast out there and let people know where they can communicate with us.
Sure.
For the meeting aspects, they can always email us directly on issues. I have emails on other subjects, but for when they want something read into the record, let's set something up so it can officially go that way and we can make sure it happens. Thanks for highlighting those, Jerry, for the ones that got missed. Appreciate you bringing that up.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure.
Any further business for the town? Hearing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to
Very good. Agenda's complete. We don't need a second. Thank you, everybody. Also, for the gentlemen that were not here earlier, we couldn't meet, but we have some Port Royal face masks for council
Nice.
that I will get delivered to everyone.